Hey, it's Chris. And we're going to continue with our SvelteKit tutorial. So we did Auth0, Tailwind. Forget what we did in the last one, but we're going to continue. We did the marketing a little bit. We're going to continue on the marketing. Get string. So, this is my little to-do app. I just took the SvelteKit starter thing and extended it with timer. So let's see if it works. So, I need two branches. Worked ahead a little bit. Did that switch branches? Status. Did not switch branches. Oh, actually did. Didn't. Hey Mac, what's up? You working today? This is on. Is that your brother-in-law's? Okay, that's your thing. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out why Git's not working right. So updates, the most useful Git message ever. So let's go back to this and we'll check out main. All right. This is right. I don't have an environment variable .env file. So let's get this started. So npm run dev. Take a look at what I've been working on. Yeah, it's a bit of a slow week for me as well. We had a big event this weekend. So that's done. All right. So, I don't know if you've noticed this. You see that flash of the CSS not being there when I reload? In case you run into that with Tailwind, the issue is this app.post CSS file. I need to bump this up. So I think what happens is it needs to pre-process. We're going to change that to a CSS file. And let's see, we can get rid of that. In which case, we probably, did we lose all our styles or did it switch it? Yep. So we were importing a post CSS file in layout. So we just need to switch that to a CSS file. Let's refresh. All right. Now when I refresh, there's no flash. So, let's see. What I want to work on is, this is a boilerplate or a starter for any SvelteKit project. So you're not having to pull in like authentication. You can log in. This, so log in, and it's kind of ugly, so we'll just ignore how ugly it is when we log in. The point is these things that should be part of the application. So what we'll do is I want to work on this start building route, which goes to get started or getting started. But there's an issue with my header, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Got that going to the wrong link. Control find, get started. Switch that to getting. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I want to make this a input that we can then tie in to registering for Mailchimp. So let's start our to-dos, and we'll do a 60-minute session. So we need to add an input, and we then need to have a callback that goes to, and then I want to make an email service that we do all of the emailing from, or the bits for Mailchimp. So I don't really want to make an email thing one-off. I want to be able to extend it in the future. So the first step is the input, which we'll put right here. So switching back over to our code. Not on that one. So start building. Okay, we're gonna take that away as a route. We'll make that a button. It means we need to auto close didn't work. And we'll take that out, type. Means we need to put this in a form field. On submit. Handle submit. And I'm not gonna worry about styling because I think we have enough for this video to do the to actually get it to Mailchimp. So so type equals text. But just so you know, I wouldn't create an unstyled thing. We'll just do that later. Submit. And with Svelte, we need to initialize the variable. This is going to be local to this variable. So on, no, not on, bind value. That's bound to the email, so console log email. And what we'll do is we'll start this with an email, so I don't have to keep filling that in. So we'll use Mac here, Mac at example.com. So that did all that correctly. This should show up. It doesn't. There we go. The Mac at example.com. Let's look at the console. And if you notice right there, it's doing a full page refresh. So we need to do the prevent default. Now I can console log mac.example a huge number of times. So I feel like that's pretty cool. I don't know. So now we need to do something with this, which is going to be a fetch request. And it's going to be a fetch to our own server. And I haven't decided on this yet. I think I want to make a routes folder for API, and we'll handle it in there. So we'll say, what should we call this? Start building, because that's like marketing copy. Register email. Let's see. So it's going to be .json.js. This is how SvelteKit handles routes, or handles serverless functions. So let's see if we can just get the email to it. So we'll make this an async function, and let result equals await fetch. Fetch is here by default on the server and the client, which is useful. So we are going to, thanks for the follow, man. We're going to fetch our API / register email, and I'm trying to think of what we need to do next. .json, and we're going to send some params. This is where I wish I had my notes. So let's look at SvelteKit. Oh, you know what? We did something already. We added the input. So now we're working on the callback. So SvelteKit fetch. And where are we at? Fetch input. That's not it. Endpoints. There we go. So from our .json, we need to export one of the traditional REST endpoints. So since this is like posting something, this is going to be a post. It's helpful to just copy, change. Here's where I'm probably going to mess up. So let's just console log the params. I almost write parmas every time. That's funny. It's funny. Which means we need to do a method. The method post. Is that right? Let's see if we can see this. So see in the server, when I hit this root, whether Earth is making you sick, me moving around like that. That comes. Actually, we're not getting it in the client either. Failed. Server responded with status 404. Sometimes the issue, probably my syntax, but sometimes the issue is you need to restart the server. Nope, still 404. API register email.json. That looks correct. Return. You also have to return a status. This could be what the issue is. Or return the status of bacon. So that is what that worked. So we are getting it back. So it is getting params. It's calling post with the correct method, but it's not receiving anything. So we need to put this data in here. So we'll do it in a body, and if I could spell email correctly. But we can't just put it in an object, so we need to JSON stringify this. So what we can do is I like to pull the body out. Let body equals that. And then we'll JSON stringify body. All right, let's see what happens with that. Still nothing. Oh, you know what? Because we don't have anything called params, we're sending body. So let's change our method. So we're not going to destructure that. We'll destructure body. And there. Now we've got mac at example.com. So we need to parse that. Let body, oh, we can't call it body. Let data equals. It's already async. Await JSON parse body. Now console log data. All right, so we got data, it's email. So let's add an environment variable because we don't really want to store this in our string. This is all front-end code right now. So a clever programmer could steal our API keys. We're gonna start with fake API keys. And then we'll progressively, no, I don't want to add it to that. We'll progressively add more layers till we get our final product. So I've added an environment variable, and we need to add this to our getIgnore. Surprised it's not already in there by default. So now that's grayed out. That means that it's not in our environment. In fact, we don't need to see the server right now. Okay, so in our environment variables, since we're going with the Mailchimp API, which there's steps here. It's developer marketing guides, quick start. So if you wanted to Google that. So we're gonna say Mailchimp API key. We're gonna say, let's get Chimpy. All right, so let's see if we can get that printing out here. So let's check and see. Let's API. No, I'm mixing. Actually, I better not. Let's keep things standard. Screaming snake case. Process.environment. Let's see if this is exposed. Right here. That's complaining that is never used. Let's use it. Need to see server again. So that's coming back as undefined. which is good because you don't really want that coming to server. It looks like I'm in a never-ending loop. Like a weird build loop. It's also complaining because I have a vite.config. But that was me trying to figure out the require issue with Vite right now, which is common JS fun issue. Okay, so we don't have access to that here, and it's because we haven't imported .env. So we need to add npm install .env-save. And let's .env equal import .env. Actually, you know what? My VS Code helps me. .env. It should automatically import. It didn't. Config. Did it import it? Oh, it did. Okay, so yeah. Mine, if I start using it, it'll auto import. That's a really cool VS Code extension. Not sure where it is. And because we messed with the server, now I do want to see that. All right, so we've got Let's Get Chimpy coming down here. That's good. So we could use that on this route right here. Problem is, I think that this is still front end, and equally I want to create, I want to extend this a bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, so like we have the auth service, I want to create we'll call this a Mailchimp service. So really, I want to get this here. So export default Mailchimp, and we do this with the auth, yeah. So const Mailchimp is equal to, and then we'll put our functions in here. So we'll say register email. Means we need to define register email. You can look at the auth. So we'll do an async function. All right, so that's all connected. We do need to import process. Okay, that brought it in. Config. Okay, so it's configured. We got Mailchimp API key, so we'll need that a little bit later. So we want to, we're not going to actually call .env here, but what we are going to do is we're going to call our function. So we need to say Mailchimp so that's imported Mailchimp, register email, and I think all we really need to do is transfer the email. So data email. Don't need that anymore. Can you hear me? Yep. Weird, I've been talking for 30 minutes. I just thought maybe I should check for my volume, even though I was talking with somebody. Silly. Okay, so we want to check and make sure that this registry email is being hit. So console log. And this takes email. All right, let's double check that this is being hit. All right, let's get Chimpy and Mac. So we've got this now back to our service. I think I want to check and make sure. I'll do that later. I'm going to check and make sure that this isn't visible on the front end. Figure out how to do that. But so the next thing is we want to try out their service. And what we would do is we would use their API, their library for Node, but we've got an issue. In SvelteKit Invite, so SvelteKit's built on Invite, or Vite. This require does not work. It doesn't support the common JS. So we're going to actually have to do this the old-fashioned way with fetch. So let's back up. We don't need to import anything because it's built in, but we do need to get our API keys. So to do that, you need to see, go to Mailchimp. I have to do this off screen. Actually, I don't even need to do that yet. Let's go ahead and start building the endpoint. So we don't need that. First API call. So we're going to hit this route. So let's set our URL to that. Let's do template tags. So we don't have the DC yet. DC is what does it stand for? It's like a server prefix. So let DC equal to, mine is US3. So we're just hitting the ping route to begin with. And then we have to send a user authentication of API key. So I'm going to copy this in there. This is not what we're going to use because that is bash. So we need to use base 64. So that's base-64. And say import base64 from base64. And here's where I always get lost. So just remembering this off the top of your head, if you can do that, you're a pro. Base64. Hold on, I've got it in my history. Where's it at? All right. we're gonna do something like this. So we've already got base 64. We've already got this. We've already got that. So in this case, our password is gonna be, yeah, let's go ahead and let password. That is gonna be our key. We'll leave it in there. So we'll create the headers, append, authorization. There's supposed to be space there, base 64, and code. Username. This can be, according to the documentation, this can be any key, any string right there. So I'm going to say any string, because why not? Like, why recreate this? That's extra. So it's just this password that we need to fill in to do this basic GET request. And we need to return back to, let's see, return, not ret run. Message. We'll just return that whole object that comes back. So to run through this, we're going to pull in our Mailchimp API key and the email. And we don't, like, for the ping route, we don't need to hit that. That's pretty, like, we don't need to do that. We're just checking to make sure this works. So this password is going to be the Mailchimp API key. And this is already going to run, isn't it? No, this is, yeah. So this is already going to run. We've got an async. So let's let result await our function. And we'll console log our result. Just to see what we get back. But still return that. So we should hit the Mailchimp API with this. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. So once I add my key, it's not gonna affect anything. This, I think, would be better pulled out into like a function that we'll call like an internal function for sending these requests, because we'll want to vary what we're hitting, what the body is going in, what method we're hitting, so we can extract that out to something more useful later on. But okay, so Mailchimp, so we should see a result here, at least hitting this, and it's going to be an error, I'm pretty sure. So let's get, whoops. It's pulled up. Get it. Okay, didn't like that. Can I read property encode of undefined? Where did I say encode? Is there an error there? Restart. Oh, okay. So this is a Byte issue. So Byte does these optimizations on packages in there before it runs them. So it did that optimization on the base 64. So I think rerunning this should work. Knock on wood. All right, there we go. So that worked. So in case you can't see it, we've got a Mailchimp developer marketing errors, API key invalid, your API key is valid. You've attempted to access, or you've attempted to access the wrong data center. Well, I know it's invalid because I made it invalid. So let's get Chimpy is not a valid API key. So what I need to do is I need to go to Mailchimp's API and grab my API, and I can't show you that. So I'm gonna do that off screen. Log in. Forget where to find it. Navigating their site. Understand why they hide it. Most people don't. Okay. So you go to count, and then in extras, there's an API key. I'm going to copy one that I've already created, but you can fully create one. Now I need to hide this off screen. Put in. Just so you know, I saved it. That's what that big refresh was there. Back on screen. Okay, so we're gonna hit that route again. And I think we might be in that endless loop. So let's hit that again. And we got back a success. Everything's chimping. Cool. So we've now got this so we can hit their route. We're not adding anything yet, but we can. So I'm not gonna do what I said about extracting this out so there's like reusable routes to hit with this, because I can copy and paste, but after about 2 or 3 times of doing that, it might make sense to pull this out into something that's reusable. So let's look at their API and see what we need to do next. Create your first audience, marketing API docs, API reference documentation. So what I want to do is let's get lists. So we're still on that. We can change right here think it matters. If you see my list, let's see. Lists don't really do anything, so okay, so that's one of my lists that I have. Or I only have one list in there. You're seeing this email because you opted in your website. So what we need to do is we need to create a list in there, and you can use their interface for doing that, or if you really want to get fancy, you can do that. But what you need is, after you've got the list, that's when you can add a person to the site. So kind of like figuring this out as we go. So everything in Mailchimp is like for which we're going to be using it for is within list. So we add a member to the list. So we need that list ID. Let's see, and then this is the route we're going to hit. I'm going to copy that. In this case, the list, and we need the list ID, members, and since we're posting, then it knows what we're doing. So we need to get the list ID, and then we need to also form the data to send for the body. I don't like the order that I've done this in, but I don't really want to fix it right now. Data equals blank. So let's get that list ID. So that's my list ID right there. Equally, you can get that if you look in the URL bar if you're navigating around Mailchimp. So that's the list ID. And we're going to post. And we can treat this like Node, even though we're not using that. Essentially what we're doing is we're creating our own SDK, which we have to because right now we can't use theirs. So what we need to do just copy all that and then I'll fix it. If we were running on like a traditional Node server, we wouldn't have this issue. And we don't need that. Response, client list, add list member, list ID. That status is a string. And we'll take in our email address. And in case like you're wondering, like we're signing someone up for my email, example.com is like dead domain that you can use anything to set the email on. So email address is required. The status is required. So we're going to add them as subscribed. No, status unsubscribed. If it goes in as status unsubscribed, I think it will send an email. Not sure about that. We'll have to check. But let's see what comes back with the response. So we need to post. And we'll post with a body. JSON stringify. All right, fingers crossed that should be, we should get a response right here. Hit it. Invalid. Looks like faker invalid. Please enter a real email address. So they're checking on that. They list emails that you can add. Okay, so maybe they don't want you to enter fake email addresses. So what? I'll enter my own email address. All right, member exists. So I'm already on my own list. Go to Mailchimp.com. Okay, so I'm already on there. You know what? I can do different email address that I have. Me at Chris. Hit this again. That should come back with a success. Woo! Back with a lot of stuff. So that came back with unsubscribed, my unique ID, all of that stuff. And that's it. We've added something to a list. So the rest, all back, made the email service. So that that sent the whole response back down to my register email. So I guess what we could do is we could listen for the type of response that came back. Unsubscribe. Status in there. So we're fetching, if JSON status is not equal to 400, so yeah, these were all 400. Or actually, let's just do it positively. Is equal to 400. Return status 400. Message. You know what? Why don't we just return this down to that client, the whole thing? So now we're getting the result here, and we're logging there. Refresh. Now I'm in there. Actions. Okay. I'm permanently deleted. This time we're going to see the result. But now this is coming from a different part of the app. Oh wait, no. Hold on. It didn't take it. That's not waiting. This is immediately responding. JSON parse, register email. I don't know if you can do it this way. Okay, so it's not actually coming back the way that I want it to. But we've got something set up with Mailchimp, so we can add people to a list. So if you're working on your own project, you can add you can set up the site for marketing emails here, where they can add it. We would probably want to put a honeypot on it, so people aren't able to programmatically do it, or it's much more difficult to programmatically hit that route a bunch of times. So that's a safeguard. It'll save some of your API calls on wherever you deploy it. I was hoping to be able to respond back. Actually, we are responding back to this, so we are awaiting results. So let's see, if results console log result. So let's take a look at that real quick. Should be returning bacon every time. Response body readable stream. So if result, let's see, results. Just gonna reassign results. Actually, we have to do this in a then. I always forget the syntax as well. Actually, I could copy and paste it, couldn't I? JSON. Let's just move this up. Here, copy pasta. Copy pasta. Okay, well, you get the idea. Like, what I want to do is get this response back, 200 and bacon, and in the next one, I think we'll probably switch that to whatever what this data is going to be coming back from Mailchimp, or just a success, because it doesn't have to actually be that data. The person knows what they did. Let's see. We do want to know that it's a success, but I'll have to do that in the next one because I've run out of time today. So again, this is Chris. We're working on Svelte Backpack, which is a SvelteKit boilerplate that you can create for yourself or copy mine. All right, cheers. Have a good day.